We bring in Joel Klatt, the college football expert at this network. All right, so Kristine showed us about 40 minutes ago. These quotes were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
From Josh Rosen. This is the latest
crazy,
Josh Rosen.
You thought they were crazy?
I thought they were, yes.
Why?
Let's put them up again.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the quotes were essentially, listen, I didn't come from super wealth. He said, my family's well off. I'm not super wealthy, stupid wealthy.
I mean, he's a 1%er.
All right.
All right. I mean, his family's in the 1%.
Well,
I'd say
I mean,
that's pretty
people were
wealthy.
offended at the McDonald's line.
So his line was,
listen,
listen, if this doesn't work out, I won't have to work at McDonald's.
Right.
And you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem with that. I think that, listen, a lot of people that's part of like the vernacular that we use. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
That's kind of what people throw out. Yeah, it's almost a placeholder, not necessarily an indictment, right?
Hey, I don't have to work at McDonald's.
Right, or people say like flipping burgers or something along those. I've heard other people say, hey, it beats selling insurance. You know, it's just one of those phrases, okay?
Right.
My problems were more overarching with the article than they were specific, although they were born out of some of the specifics. Let me just articulate this. I think Josh, as a pure player, is probably the most beautiful quarterback. He's the best passer of the football and probably would be, outside of the durability and the attitude questions, the first overall pick. Okay? Just on talent level. That's the way I view him as a quarterback. He's such an efficient mover with his body and his feet. Now, let's get to the comments. Let's get to the article. Josh Rosen is a walking contradiction. And the article was a walking contradiction. In one sentence, he was talking about, I just want to be authentic. I'm going to be me. You know, this is who I am. Yeah, I'm brash. I just kind of wear it on my shoulder. And then in the next sentence, he would say like, well, I just need to be smarter about the narrative that I drive. Well, which one is it? Because if you're driving a narrative, you're not being authentic.
So you're telling me it's a little Eddie Haskell.
Very much so. There's two sides going on. Let me give you another example. He was talking about one of the mistakes that he viewed from his college career, in particular outside the football field, off the football field. And he talked about, you know, when he wore the Trump hat and that kind of blew up on social media and he used the F word. Remember? And he said his regret was using the F word. I understand that. And then he goes on to say, hey, you know, I'm a role model, and kind of plants that flag. I know kids look up to me. I'm a role model. In his very next answer to the next question, he uses the F word. I'm like, wait, what is going on? In fact, he used the F word 3 different times in the interview outside of the question that said, I regret using the F word. So I'm like, wait, so you don't regret it these 3 times, and you're not a role model in these answers. You're being authentic, but back then, you should have driven a different narrative. Again, it's a contradiction. He's constantly in that mold. That's why he's more individual sport athlete than he is team sport athlete, born out of his prowess as a great tennis player in his youth. And then there was another one where he talked about, all I want to do is win. All I want to do is play football. And then in the next sentence, he said, my ultimate goal is to just be happy and change the world. Which one is it? Again, like, this is an article that a decision maker in the NFL will walk in, and if he doesn't like Josh Rosen, he throws down on the table and he says, that's why I don't like him. If it's a decision maker that does like Josh Rosen, he throws that article down and he says, that's why I love the kid. Look at him. He takes full ownership of his quote-unquote arrogance. The article serves a little bit of two masters there. Sure. It's a walking contradiction. That's what makes it hard for these NFL teams. If you like that article, you love Josh Rosen. If you don't like the article, you already don't like Josh Rosen. It's going to further separate and polarize the evaluation of him at the next level.
Okay, let's go to my high end, low end. You know this is a game that GMs ask of their scouts, their regional scouts. Give me the high end, give me the low end.
Probably more so than you would think. It's kind of a fun game here.
Oh, I love
it. This is a serious deal in those rooms.
This is what these guys.
Is a serious
by the way,
deal.
I have not told the audience this yet. I don't know if I've told Kristine either. On draft night in the NFL, you will be where?
With the NFL Network simulcast on Fox.
So you will be on the draft. You know where I'll be.
Oh, where are you going to be?
Yeah, where are you going to be?
On the stage?
He's going to be in some draft room.
I am going to be in one of the 32 NFL draft rooms.
I knew it. Do you know whose it is?
I don't know which one it is. Probably one of the local teams, I would guess.
Yep.
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh,
you got a 50-50 guess there.
So anyway, so I take this stuff seriously.
Wait. They invited you into their draft room?
Wait, you take it seriously like they're going to ask your opinion? No, they're not.
No.
Why are you allowed in there?
Maybe I am deeply respected by executives.
Or did you tell them your vast and kind of weird knowledge of...
I just said I love football. I'm into this. I went to dinner with 2 different people.
So do they vastly respect your knowledge, or they just invited you to be a fly on the wall? Those are 2 different things.
They asked me to sit in the room and make crucial decisions.
That's not true.
Hey, Colin,
Okay,
it
doesn't
if you
matter.
want to sit in the room, you can come join.
Hey,
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
if you get invited to the wedding, you don't ask where you sit. You're just happy to be at the wedding.
No, you definitely ask where you're sitting.
High end,
Hey,
low
listen,
end.
having a wedding and having a seat at the head table are 2 different things, my friend.
Agreed.
Sounds like jealousy. So high end, low end. Well, you look at my high end, low end.
I did, yeah. I thought it was interesting. There was only 2 that I disagreed with.
Okay, what were the 2 you disagreed with?
The 2 I disagreed with was the high end for Mayfield and the low end for Darnold. Those are the 2 that I thought you were off. Other than that, I thought it was pretty accurate.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the high end on Baker Mayfield.
High end on Baker Mayfield, you had as Case Keenum.
Yeah. Marginal athlete, undersized.
But he's not necessarily undersized. He's a little taller than Case. I've stood next to both of them. I think you're underselling him. But again, it goes along with the narrative that you've had about Baker this entire process. I think that the high end is Drew Brees.
Oh, God, Joel.
What?
He's the most accurate thrower of my life.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield just set the NCAA efficiency mark in back-to-back years. He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks.
Are they tackling in the Big 12 these days?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
seriously. If you take a look at the competition that Baker Mayfield faced, the only quarterback that faced stiffer competition last year was Sam Darnold, and a lot of that is born out of the fact that USC refuses to play an FCS opponent, and they play Notre Dame out of conference. But Mayfield has played on the road at Ohio State. He's played on the road against Tennessee. In fact, on the road against top 25 competition in his stint as the OU starter, he was 7-0. So don't give me this competition crap. Listen, this guy has been accurate, whether it's down the field or short. He's been efficient with the football, not turned the football over. He's very much Drew Brees in that his game is all about touch, accuracy, and anticipation, in particular inside of the numbers. That's where Drew Brees shines. That's where he's best. That's his high end. Baker Mayfield on the high end is a guy that could be a Drew Brees for a franchise.
You know, remember that show, remember Screech? What was that show?
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Your high end, low end on Screech is apparently De Niro is the high end. And, I mean, that is, you do get De Niro. No, I'm saying is the high end is Brett. The high end is Drew Brees.
Yes.
It's one of the 10 best quarterbacks of my life.
Okay.
And Baker, you think he can hit that?
Baker Mayfield's one of the 10 best college quarterbacks I've seen in the last decade. He's the best RPO thrower in the direction that the NFL is going. Listen, he's got some detractions, which is why you put up Johnny Manziel. I did not disagree with that. Did I?
No, you didn't.
No, and having a wide margin. Listen, I put Drew Brees and Johnny Manziel. I agreed with your Manziel as the low end. That wide margin, there's a lot of risk there. Okay, so he's a riskier pick than some of these other quarterbacks. I'm just saying that your high end is selling them short.
Okay, Sam Darnold. High end is a legendary, exhilarating, occasionally turnover-prone, legendary player who runs a franchise for 15 years and wins the Super Bowl. The low end is he gets banged up because he runs too much. He throws some picks and has his critics, but he is a really, really good above-average quarterback.
You're either too high on Darnold or too low on Luck. One of the two, because that's way too high of a floor.
That's what Goulet says.
Yeah, I mean,
what's your floor on him?
Andrew Luck was one of the 3 generational quarterbacks to enter the draft in the last 30 years. There's only been 3 guys that has just been unquestioned, 100%. No matter where they go, they're going to succeed. It was John Elway, Peyton Manning, and Andrew Luck. Okay, so I have a hard time having him be the floor. I think more of a floor for Darnold, because I don't think he's got a lot of bust factor, but I would say low end. What about a Jameis Winston? Forget the off-the-field issues with Winston in college and even what he's dealt with in the NFL. These guys were alphas in their own locker room in college, were the reason that their team was winning and at an elite level, and they were a little turnover-prone in college. And I think that is kind of where Darnold might be headed low end.
Okay, I think you're really accurate, but here's where you're not. I still don't know if Jameis is going to make it because I don't think he's mature. Darnold has no maturity issues, like
I agree.
None.
I agree.
There's no bust factor for Darnold. I think Jameis Winston struggles this year.
Listen, this guy, I love Darnold. He is not Andrew Luck, John Elway, or Peyton Manning. There is a bust factor with Sam Darnold.
What?
It might be low.
Is that a bust to the Hall of Fame after his 7th year? A bust or a bust factor?
If I were going to critique Sam Darnold, and this is something that can be fixed because Kurt Warner proved it, the fumbles are more of an issue than the interceptions, in my mind.
Totally agree.
No question about that. But as Warner showed us in his career, that can be something that gets better with time. And then the only other thing is that Sam at times can defer. He's not always the alpha like Winston was in college. He can defer, born out of the hey, I grew up in San Clemente. San Clemente, if you don't know, is far south in Orange County.
Very chill beach town.
Surfer bro kind of mentality. He's not a surfer bro, but
sometimes he's too much one of the guys.
He's too casual.
All right.
And that would be a criticism of Sam Darnold. But there is a small bust factor with Sam Darnold. I don't believe that he will. I think he should be the first player taken. I think he's going to succeed in the NFL. I like the Brett Favre high end, but low end, let's think more about Jameis Winston rather than one of the 3 generational quarterbacks that's come into the draft in the last 30 years.
Joel Klatt, that's his name. We loved having him on the show. Thanks, bud.
You bet.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.